Hi friends, as promised, I'm back with a new video on my first experience in Pastelmat by Clairefontaine. I'll be using my existing Derwent soft pastels, set of 24, and my newly purchased Derwent pastel pencils. Some new Stabilo CarbOthello pastel pencils, which I absolutely love, and sponge tip blending brushes, all from my last art supplies haul. I'll keep some paper tissues handy and glassine or tracing paper to help work on the artwork easily. I will be recreating this letterbox composition that I've already made in oil pastels as well as in watercolors. And I'm curious to see how it turns out, my soft pastels on Pastelmat. So I've traced the rough outline of this composition and I washi taped the edges of the Pastelmat. Through the course of this video, I will share what I learned while using Pastelmat as a first time, so do stick on till the end. The first mark feels scary. Because Pastelmat grabs pigment immediately, putting down that very first stroke can feel intimidating. It also feels like precious paper. It's natural to worry about making mistakes you can't undo, especially on relatively expensive surface. What helped me, however, was starting with light pastel strokes and reminding myself that the first layer is just a base, not the final word. I broke some of my long soft pastels and used the sides of the halves to cover ground. So the next thing is blending feels different. So instead of smudging like on regular paper or even pastel paper, blending happens on Pastelmat by gently pushing pigment into the surface or layering new colors on top. I felt sponge tip tools or blending brushes would work better than fingers, and thankfully I had purchased this as a part of my last art supplies run. The next is how soft pastels versus pastel pencils behave on Pastelmat. I noticed that soft pastels cover large areas quickly, as they should, and it's almost tempting to glide the soft pastel across the Pastelmat because of the texture. You can blend and build colors using them, while pastel pencils are perfect for details and sharper edges. I was surprised how clean and deep the lines could be on Pastelmat using pencils. On Pastelmat, both work beautifully. The pencils don't feel scratchy, and they layer smoothly on top of the soft pastel base without disturbing it too much. Using them together gave me the best of both worlds, I thought. Bold color blocks plus adding details. If you missed my last art supplies haul video, I'll put a link in the description below. By this time, I was starting to feel more confident about the whole experience of using Pastelmat for the first time. So I did some research on Pastelmat online, and this is what I've learned. Pastelmat by Clairefontaine isn't a sanded paper like many pastel surfaces. Instead, it has a unique cellulose fiber coating that gives it a soft velvety feel. This surface is micro-textured, almost like suede, and it grips pastel pigment deeply into the fibers rather than letting it sit loosely on top. That's why it can hold multiple layers, producing rich colors and creating very little dust while working. The paper itself is acid-free, heavyweight, which is 360 GSM, and available in sheets or pads in a variety of colors. It's archival in quality and durable for finished artworks. So all in all, I think it's a superb investment for high-quality artworks that you wish to create with soft pastels. I've also learned that it's probably just above 2 decades old in concept and was born out of a need where traditional sanded paper surfaces lacked, that tend to be more gritty and consume pastel sticks faster. These product innovations are made with so much thought for its end-user artists, professional and hobbyists alike, and they've always fascinated me. I personally have huge respect for such companies and brands that innovate to make artists' experience better. I noticed that colors build up slowly. Initial layers may look darker or duller than expected, also because I probably didn't apply so much of pressure in the initial layers. But Pastelmat allows you to keep layering light over dark, which brings out vibrant and rich final results. Overall, my first time with Pastelmat turned out to be an enjoyable and fulfilling experience. Once I got past that initial fear of making the first mark, I really started to appreciate and respect the high quality of the surface. The way it holds colors, keeps the workplace clean, and lets me build up layers with so much vibrancy, made the whole process feel rewarding. I can definitely see why artists rave about it. It feels like a premium surface that really brings out the best in soft pastels and pastel pencils alike. One of the nicest surprises I had in my experience while using the Pastelmat is there's hardly any pigment dust flying around. Pigment sinks into the textured surface beautifully layer by layer, which keeps the workspace cleaner and makes every stroke feel more controlled. While I did not use an eraser on the artwork, I did use an eraser in the end to clean off the borders where some light pigment had transferred, and it was so easy to do so with an artist eraser. But what I believe is if you try and erase a section that has been pigmented well and has settled into the textures, it won't be so easy to take it off a Pastelmat shade. I can't say for sure because I haven't tried it. What has your experience been with an eraser on Pastelmat? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, friends, and joining me on my first Pastelmat experience. I hope my learnings help you if you're curious to try it too. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you in my next one with more art explorations. Until then, stay curious and happy creating.